See, STLC phases. Have any idea, Madhumati? Phases in software test process or software test life cycle?
Yeah, it's a test strategy.
Test strategy is not the phase. Test strategy is document, company level document. We implement test strategy to our project. Test strategy describes all test levels and test types and how to conduct testing, etc.
The test planning is correct.
Test planning, good.
Test design
Test design,
and test execution
good. Test execution,
and test closure.
yes. Test closure. See, okay. First one, test planning. Test planning. Next, test design. Next, test execution. Next, test closure. See, full form, evaluating exit criteria and test closure. Okay. See, these are the 4 important phases in software test life cycle. Okay, I will provide a brief introduction for all phases. Tomorrow we will discuss Selenium test process. Actually, this software test process is not our syllabus. Just this is foundation. That's why I'm explaining. See, test planning. Test planning. See, in order to understand the phases, this is the format. Input are references. Next, tasks. Next, output. Output of every phase, input for next phase. Say, next, Gurunath, what are the input or references for test planning phase in software test life cycle?
I don't know, sir. Like, no.
Okay, this is core. Can you tell me, Sunil Maganti, what are the important references for test planning?
Like
how you
entry criteria.
How you plan for test activities?
Entry criteria and exit criteria.
Entry criteria, exit criteria, those are fields in test plan documentation. Test plan document. Test plan document is different. Test planning phase is different. It is phase. Test plan is document.
Sir, is this a requirement?
Requirement documents, sir.
Requirements.
Requirements, LLD, HLD.
Okay. Neeladri. Okay, Sunil. Neeladri, continue.
Yes, that's whenever the requirements are finalized, BRD documents or any requirement specific documents are the
document name, whatever it might be, if it is SRS or CRS. See, some companies use name SRS, software requirement specification. Some companies use PRD, product requirement document. Some companies use CRS, customer requirement specification. Say, but official term is SRS. Some companies use other names. Anyhow, that is requirements only. Requirements, document name, whatever it might be. Requirements. requirements. Next, anything else for planning, test planning? Requirements,
Resources.
resources. Resources is reference. Resources are references. Okay, Sridevi, can you tell me?
The requirements like user story.
Okay. Okay, put mute. Madhumati. Madhumati.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Project plan
Yes, project plan. See, based on project plan, test lead prepares test plan. Test plan. Say,
is okay.
Project manager. Project manager prepares project plan. Based on project plan, test lead prepares test plan. See, project plan also reference. Project plan. Next, test strategy. Test strategy. What is test strategy? Have any idea? Mukul, Sanjida Mukul.
Test strategy.
This is a company level document. Suppose test plan, project level, test cases, project level, test strategy, company level document. It is not only for this project, it is for multiple projects, for one or more projects. See, it describes how to conduct testing. How to conduct testing. Sunil, any idea? Test strategy document, company level document.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, these are the mandatory requirements for formal test process. Mandatory. Next, optional references, design docs, if available. Design docs means HLD, high level documents, low level documents. Niladri put
Sir?
after
How about the estimation?
estimation is activity. It is not reference.
Okay.
It's not input. Okay. Put mute. Put mute. Say design documents, HLD, LLDs. Next, process guidelines. Process guidelines documents. One or more. One or more. Next, company, corporate standards. Corporate standards. Docs, etc. See, first three mandatory documents or references, remaining optional. Next, what are the important tasks in test planning phase? Tasks. Smita, what are the important tasks in test planning?
Understanding and analyzing the requirements.
Yes, first understanding and analyzing the requirements. Analyzing the requirements. Next, feasible study, risk analysis. Risk analysis. Next, test strategy implementation. Say, test strategy is company level document. It describes all test levels and test types and how to conduct testing in every test level, etc. Here we adopt test strategy for our project. Suppose our company test strategy describing functional testing, performance testing, security testing, etc. Suppose for our project, no performance testing, only functional testing. We adopt functional test strategy for our project. See in simple words, test strategy describes how to conduct testing. See, in every level, we conduct testing. Okay, testers may vary from one level to another. Suppose in unit testing, testers are developers. In system testing, testers are independent testers like you. Next, in acceptance testing, testers are customers or customer side people. Okay, testers may vary from one level to another, but testing concept same. See, test strategy implementation, how to conduct testing. Suppose in our project only functional testing. Our test lead implements functional test strategy for our project. Suppose for another project, functional testing, performance testing, and usability testing. The test lead implements functional testing strategy and performance testing strategy, how to conduct performance testing, etc. See, test strategy, implementation. Next, based on test strategy, test estimations, high level activity. Test estimations. Observe first requirement, next strategy, next estimation. Suppose I have to go to another city, that is my requirement. How to go, strategy, by car, by flight, strategy. Depends on that strategy, test estimation varies. Suppose by car, 5 hours, by flight, 1 hour. See, based on strategy, we estimate. See, first requirement, next strategy, next estimations. See, in this test, this is high level activity. Generally, test lead or team lead estimates, prepares test estimation with the help of all team members also. Okay, test estimations. For test estimations, what are the considerable factors? Some considerable factors are there. First one, scope of the project. What is scope? Suppose financial applications having more scope than ERP applications. Suppose one ERP application is there, enterprise resource planning. Suppose one industry, cement factory is there, that cement factory software application. Suppose modules, HR, stock, marketing, sales and distribution, accounts, stores, etc. That ERP application also important, but suppose ERP application failed for 1 hour or 2 hours. Problem is there, but not severe. Why? All that industry resources under the control of that industry. Suppose taking attendance, say a software failed. Okay, they take attendance manually. After rectifying the problem, they can enter the data. Suppose financial application, internet banking application failed for 1 hour or 2 hours. See, all customers of that bank not under the control of the bank. Suppose lakhs of customers get dissatisfaction. See, financial applications having more scope than other applications. But every software application is important, I can accept. But Some application having more scope. Getting this point, Sunil? Scope of the project.
Yes, sir.
Next, time. Suppose customer asked to complete the project within 6 months. Time also one of the considerable factor for test estimations. Suppose if time is less, we have to increase the resources, environmental resources as well as human resources. Suppose if time is more, you can take sufficient resources. Next, resources available, environmental and human resources. Next, budget, etc. These are the considerable factors for test estimations. Okay, na? Sanjida Mukul, Sanjida, are you following?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Somebody not trying. Madhumati, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. What about you, Preeti? You joined several times and disconnected. Now getting?
Yes,
Preeti
sir.
Joshi.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm good.
Okay, cool. Okay. Still somebody, Sunil, Sridevi, Smita, Sanjida, Neeladri. One person not available. Okay. Next, team formation, test plan documentation. 2 tasks are there. Which one is first? Gurnad Natarajan. Team formation or test plan documentation?
Test plan documentation, sir.
Test plan documentation is first. Then team formation?
Yes, sir.
No.
No,
As
sir.
per
No.
industry standards, some companies may not follow formal process. But as per industry standards, first team formation, then test plan documentation. Why? For test plan documentation, all team members' contribution required. See, author of the document is test lead or team lead only. Okay, test lead. Some companies use test lead term, some companies use team lead term, some companies use test manager. See, depend on size of the company, size of the project, etc. Okay, test lead or team lead is the author of the document, test plan document. But all team members' contribution required for scheduling the activities, for roles and responsibilities, etc. Okay, na?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. This is the formal process. See, some companies may not follow formal process. First test plan, after planning, they recruit the people. That is different case. That is informal. See, team formation. Next, test plan documentation. See, documenting the test plan. See, in test plan, you can find exit criteria, entry criteria, suspension criteria, roles and responsibilities, schedule, etc. Next, one important task. Some companies may not follow this one, but important one. Configuration management planning. Configuration management planning. Smita, have any idea what is configuration management? It is not only for testing team, it is also for other teams in the project. It is for all stakeholders of the project. See, developers, see, it is important for development team. It is also required for project management. See, configuration management not only for testing team, for all stakeholders of the project. What is configuration management?
Is it if the requirement changes after the deployment? Will configuration management team needs to give an approval?
Okay, approvals. Okay, and I'm asking what is configuration management? Okay, Madhumati. Have any idea, Madhumati?
No, sir.
Okay, say storing and organizing all configurable items is called configuration management. Simple words. Storing and organizing all configurable items is called configuration management. What are the configurable items in our software testing? Okay, I will explain. Before that, you can plan configuration management manually. Some companies follow manual process, and some tools also available for configuration management. Nowadays, some tools also available for configuration management. Preeti, have any idea? For configuration management, some tools also available. For example, VSS, Visual Source Safe. Visual Source Safe. Suppose in EFT, ALM is there, Application Lifecycle Management. ALM supports little bit configuration management apart from test management. Okay. Configurable items. See, storing and organizing all configurable items is called configuration management. What are the configurable items in software testing? See, what software and hardware we use for testing and what documents see, somebody system making noise. Avoid that one. I think Smita. Okay. See, what software and hardware we use for testing and what documents we produce during testing all comes under configurable items. All come under configurable items. Suppose test plan document, test cases, test data, test summary report, defect reports, all are configurable items. We need to track. See, configuration management main purpose is version control. We can change, we can track the changes in requirements, etc. See, what software and hardware we use for testing and what documents we produce during testing all come under configurable items. See, this configuration management not only for software testing, also for other stakeholders in the project. It is more important for development team. Okay. Okay, now Sanjida, did you understand this concept? Brief idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, traceability matrix documentation. Traceability matrix. Documentation. Say, what is traceability matrix? Neeladri, what is traceability in our scenario?
It is a mapping among requirements, test case, defects, and use cases.
Use case different. Say, use cases are more elaborated documentation than requirements. User stories. If we use cases, you no need to use requirement document. Okay. Either requirements or use cases. We map either requirements or use cases, but use cases is not the official. Official is requirements. Okay, na?
Yeah, it's so in general, so it is a mapping among requirements, test case, and defects.
Yes. See, mapping requirements and test cases. Nowadays, people are adding defects also, but in olden days, only mapping requirements with test cases, so that we can understand all requirements are covered or not, and any duplicate test cases are there or not, etc. Okay, mapping requirements with test cases and nowadays defects. Okay, see, test lead. Test lead is the author of this document. Test lead starts this document. Next, all team members update this document throughout the life cycle. See, all team members update this document throughout the life cycle. Next important task, define test environment setup. Define test environment setup. Say test environment or test lab required environment for testing. Test lead or team lead. Test lead defines the test environment setup. Test lead knows what to install. How test lead knows? Based on SRS document. Okay, test lead knows what to install. Okay, test lead defines the test environment setup. Next, technical support people, system administrators implement the test environment setup. Next, testers or team members verify the test environment setup during test execution. Say, for this test environment, 3 steps, or you can say 3 stages. Defining test environment setup by team lead or test lead. Next, implementing test environment setup by technical support people, network or system administrators. Next, verifying the test environment setup by team members, testers. Okay, now, Smita, this concept, defining test environment setup.
Yes, sir.
Who defines test environment setup?
Test lead.
Who implements test environment setup? Implementation.
Implementation team, sir.
Sunil, who implements test environment setup?
Network engineers.
Hardware
Network
engineer,
engineers,
or
developers.
system administrator, or network administrator, or technical support people. See, designations depends on company. Okay.
Yes.
Next, who verifies the test environment setup? Who verify?
Test engineers.
Test engineers.
Test engineers.
Okay. When? During test execution, not now. Okay. Say output of this phase. Can you tell me, Madhumati, output of this phase? See, we discussed input, tasks, output. What is the primary output in this phase?
Test plan document.
Yes. Test plan document. Okay. Suppose if we use configuration management plan, that configuration management plan also output, but primary output is test plan document. This is the input for next phase. What is the next phase, Gurunath, after test planning?
Test plan, like test cases.
Test case. Test case is phase. What is the next phase, Niladri?
As design, sir.
Test design. Observe, Gurunath. I already mentioned, observe, in formal software test process, test planning, test design, test execution, and test closure. Okay. Second phase in software test process or software test life cycle, test design. Test design. Input or references for test design. Sanjida Mukul. Input or references for test design. Just identify.
Requirements, sir.
Just a minute. I am asking Sanjida. Sanjida, say yes or no.
Sorry, sir, what is it?
Concentrate, Sanjida. What is my question? You are not understand the question also. Tell me, Niladri, what is my question?
What's the input of the test design phase?
Yes. What are the inputs or references for test design phase? Continue, Sanjida.
Design documents,
Design documents.
guidelines documents,
Those are secondary. Primary. Requirements required or not?
yes, requirements.
Without requirements, how you design test cases? Okay, requirements. Next, project plan not required. Test strategy not required. See, test lead already implemented the test strategy in test plan document. Test plan is required or not?
Yes, test plan is required.
Yes. See, primary inputs, requirements. Next, see, requirements form whatever it may be. SRS. Some companies use name CRS. Some companies use product requirement document. Next, BRD, etc. names. But official term is SRS, software requirement specification. Okay, name whatever it might be. Requirements.
What is CRS?
Customer requirement specification or client requirement specification.
I'm sorry. We have actually, where I work, we have all the time requirements come as CR, so they call it change request.
Change request is not the requirement document name. Okay. Already I told, I am going to explain formal process. Some companies may not follow formal process. See, no company using that name change request for requirement document. That is not formal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, all the time, whatever I see, I didn't see any BRD. They all the time I see the requirements are come as a CR, so they call it change requirement.
No, change requirements is one of the flavor or one of the output of requirements, but primary document name SRS. No, change requirement is another flavor. See, already I told, some companies may not follow formal process.
So CRS is customer requirement specification, right?
Customer requirement specification. PRD, product requirements document. BRD, business requirement document, etc. names. But official name is SRS. See, that company depends on company. Next.
The functional requirement document is also the same as BRD, SRS.
See, SRD consists of two sub-documents. Yeah, again, that is manual testing concept. SRS consists of two sub-documents. What are the two sub-document? One is again SRS, and another is FRS. Sub-documents.
Okay, sir.
This is
Okay.
system requirement specification. This is functional requirement specification.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. This SRS system requirement specification. It specifies required hardware and software, etc. for development as well as testing. See, SRS not only for this one testing. Next, FRS describes functional requirements. See, test planning, test plan document. Test plan document. These are the mandatory inputs. Next, template required. Test case template. See, nowadays some companies using tools for test case design. Suppose if we use ALM, application lifecycle management, you can use ALM for test case design. But you can maintain manual test cases also. See, you can use, depends on company. Some companies prefer manual process, some companies prefer tools. See, for test case design also some tools available. Every test management tool support test case design. For example, ALM supports test case design also. See, test case template. What is template? Predefined format. If you enter data, then document. Template, document. Madhumati, can you find the difference between template and document? What is the difference?
We enter data in the template, then
Pardon?
it's called a document. We enter data in the template, then it's called document.
Document. See, template means predefined format. If you enter data, then it is called as document. Okay. Next, optional or secondary references. Design docs in order to understand the application flow. Next, process guidelines. Docs, one or more. Next, corporate standards. Docs. Okay. Next, tasks. Tell me, Sunil, what are the important tasks in test design phase of software test process or software test life cycle?
Yeah. Designing of test scenarios and test cases.
First, here also, understanding requirements. Here, analyzation not required. Just understanding requirements. Next, generate test scenarios or derive test scenarios from requirements.
Yes.
Test scenarios. Say one scenario having one or more test cases, positive test cases, negative test cases. If it is manual testing, for every positive test case and negative test, see, most of the time positive test case only one, negative test cases multiple. If it is manual testing, we write separate test cases for positive and negative testing. If it is automation, flexibility is there. You can maintain positive and negative scenario, positive and negative test cases in single test case using data driven testing concept. Okay, anyhow, that we will discuss later. First one, generating test scenarios. See, after answering the question, put mute. Sunil, put mute. Otherwise, a record session will be disturbed. Next, test case documentation. Test case documentation. Next, test data collection. Suppose some test cases require test data. See, test data optional, not optional, required for some test cases only, not for all test cases. For example, Gmail login functionality is there. Gmail login functionality. For this test case, test data is required or not, Madhumati? Gmail login.
It's required.
Required. See, email password required. Suppose another functionality, verify launch application. Verify launch application. Suppose Gmail launch application. Launch the browser and navigate to www.gmail.com. After navigating to that URL, Gmail homepage launching or not. See, verify launch the application. For this test case, test data is required or not, Gurnath?
Yes, sir. We need the test data because the URL we need.
URL
right?
is not the test data. That is
Okay.
prerequisite. See, don't confuse. URL is not the test data. Test data varies, but URLs won't vary, na?
Yes, sir. Yeah. We don't wear, sir. Yeah.
See, URL is constant, fixed. That is prerequisite for navigating. But test data varies.
Test data varies. Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay, cool. Test data is different. URL is different. Okay. Test data collection. Why I am using this term collection instead of test data preparation, etc. See, some test data we prepare. Testers prepare some test data. For example, phone number object is there. It has to take 10-digit numeric values as per requirements. For that, you can prepare test data. Suppose some cities information is there. That cities information depends on customer's business. You need to collect that cities information from customer only. You cannot prepare that cities information. Getting this point, Niladri?
Yes, sir.
See, some test data testers prepare, some test data testers collect from customers, some test data from developers also. Can you give one example, Smita? Test data from developers.
Test data from developers.
Okay, you take a small assignment. Test data from developers. Some test data from customers, some test data from developers, some test data we prepare our own. Okay, that's why say test data from different sources. That's why I used this term. Not it's not my own. This is official term. Test data collection. Next, these are the important tasks in test design phase. Next, output. Output, Sanjida. What are the primary outputs in this phase? Input for next phase.
SRS.
SRS is output. SRS is input.
Yes.
We don't create SRS document.
Test data.
Test data. Before test data, test cases also output na?
Yes.
Okay. Put mute.
Okay.
See. Test cases. test case documents, one or more. Next, test data. Okay, now Sunil, output of the second phase.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next important phase, test execution. Test execution or test run. See, we use this run term, test run term in automation. In automation, run is synonym for execution, but in manual testing, most of the time we use test execution only. Test execution. Next, Neeladri, identify the input or references for test plan, test execution phase. Input or
So input,
references for test execution.
yes, sir. The first one is like the primary one is test case documents,
Okay.
and
See, before
test
that,
case.
requirements required. Sometimes we need to cross check. Requirement is input or reference for every phase. Requirements. Sometimes we need to cross check. What about test plan? Test plan required or not?
Yes, sir.
It is
Yes, sir.
mandatory. See, test plan describes when to start test execution. Say it describes exit criteria, entry criteria, suspension criteria, etc. See, test plan document. Next, test case docs. One or more. Put mute. Test data. During test execution, if you find any deviation from expected, we report defects. For that, defect report template. If it is manual testing, suppose in manual testing also we use some defect management tools like Bugzilla or every test management tool provides defect management. Defect management is part of test management. Suppose ALM, formerly Quality Center, provides defect management. Next, Jira, Bugzilla, Issue Tracker, PR Tracker, etc. See, nowadays most of the companies using any one tool for defect management. Every tool provides uh, its own template. Some tools provide customization facility also. You can customize the template according to your project. Okay, if you follow manual process using Excel like spreadsheet, you can report defects through internal mailing system. Enter defect details in Excel like spreadsheet, company using company prescribed format. Next, send using company mailing internal mailing system. Defect report template. Next, some pre-setup is required. Pre-setup is required. That is a readiness of AUT. AUT stands for application under test. Observe, for test planning and test design, readiness of AUT is not mandatory. See, without application also we can plan test activities, and we can design test cases and test data using requirements. But for execution, Application is mandatory. Application under test is mandatory. Getting this point, Sunil? Without application under test, we can't execute test cases na.
Yes, sir.
Next, readiness of test environment. Or you can say test lab. See, this is before test execution. Next, tasks. See here, initial task before going to execution, before test execution, verify test environment setup. Verify test environment setup. Who verifies test environment setup? Sanjida. Who verifies test environment setup?
Tester.
Testers or team members. Testers are team members. Next, create test batches. Execution queue. Create test batches or test sets. Execution queue. Next, test execution. Test execution. Don't confuse here. Phase name test execution, task name test execution. The selected one test execution is task. This first one is phase. Okay, here we have some levels of test execution. Levels, test execution levels, not test levels. Test levels different. Unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Test levels different. This is test execution levels. See, we have some levels of test execution. First level, sanity testing. See, synonyms, build verification testing. Some companies use BAT, build acceptance testing, etc. terms, but widely using term is sanity testing. One more term also there, smoke testing. See, some people say sanity testing is different, smoke testing is different, but that is controversy concept. But as per IEEE industry standards, sanity and smoke both are synonyms. But some people are saying sanity is different, smoke is different. That is controversy concept. Okay, but in our formal process, both are synonyms. See, sanity testing. What is sanity testing? Any idea,
Sir,
Smita?
this is Gurunath here, sir. What does BAT stands for?
Build acceptance testing. Build verification testing, BVT.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome. Smita, what is sanity testing?
Sanity testing, it is done when there is a new build, they'll make sure whether
Okay, this
the
is
main
not.
is working or not.
Okay, good. Okay. Sanity testing, verifying whether the build is acceptable or not by executing basic functionality tests. Verifying whether the build is acceptable or not. Build, software build. Verifying whether the build is acceptable or not by executing basic functionality tests. For example, login. Login is basic functionality. Suppose login is not functioning. Login is not functioning. We reject the build. Just a minute. Suppose we have to test Gmail application. Just a minute. Gmail application. Emailing process. Suppose login is basic functionality. Login is basic functionality. Next, need help. Need help. Is it basic functionality? Gurnath?
No, sir, it's not a basic functionality.
Say need, just a minute. Suppose Yahoo. Observe. In this Yahoo, sign in functionality is there now. Is it basic functionality or not?
Yes, sir. It's a
Basic functionality. Suppose forgot your email. It is also important functionality, but it is not basic.
Yes, sir, it's not basic.
It's not basic. Suppose login is not functioning, you cannot forward. Suppose forgot password is not functioning, you can forward. Okay, forgot password also important, but not basic. See, what is sanity testing, Madhumati? What is sanity testing?
Whether the build is acceptable or not
By verifying, by executing.
Basic functional tests.
Yes, basic functionality tests. Next, after sanity testing, comprehensive testing. Comprehensive testing. What is comprehensive testing? Complete testing means executing all possible test cases. Executing all possible test cases. Okay. Suppose we prepared 700 test cases.
Is this also known as functional testing?
See, functional testing, comprehensive testing, difference is there. In functional testing, you conduct comprehensive testing, and in performance testing also you can conduct comprehensive testing.
Okay, so comprehensive testing is...
Comprehensive testing means, don't confuse, functional is different. Don't confuse. Comprehensive testing means if it is irrespective of the test type. If it is functional testing or performance testing or security testing or compatibility testing, irrespective of the test type, we execute all possible test cases.
That means it's system testing, right, sir?
System testing is different. Don't confuse. Manual, you don't know manual testing concepts. Comprehensive testing is one small term. It is executing all possible test cases. It is there in unit testing also, integration testing also, and system testing and acceptance testing also. But in acceptance testing, they won't perform all test cases, only important test cases. See, comprehensive testing is one of the test execution level. It is there in all levels of testing, in unit testing and integration testing and in system testing. System testing is level, test level. Niladri, system testing is test level.
Okay.
At system testing level, we conduct functional and non-functional test types.
Okay.
Based on our requirements.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, I have a question. Test level environment, when it is done, before test executions or after?
Pardon?
Test level environment. Test level, that means FQT, SIT, that
Pardon?
these things test level environment.
Test level. We are not discussing test levels. Test level
But
before.
my question is, sir, my question is related to this. So
Not
we are
relate-
discussing test executions. So my question is, test level environment set up before test executions? Or
Test
after?
level environment. What is test level?
Test level, sir, UAT, SIT, FQT.
Now we
So
are
those things.
just a minute, don't confuse. Now we are discussing software test process under system testing. Under system testing level, not unit testing level, acceptance testing level. We conduct system testing now. We are independent testers. We conduct system testing level. See here, we are considering system testing only.
Okay.
System testing only. Forget about unit testing. And say in unit testing also test process is there. But in integration testing also test process is there. But we are considering system testing. System test level.
Sir. Okay, sir, you said we can, after seniority testing, we can reject the build. But the thing is there any option in real life we can reject the build or we can log the defect?
Yes. Says sometimes suppose login is not functioning. After entering valid inputs, after entering valid username and password, login is not working. That time we reject the build. Next developers fix that problem and resend.
Sir, how we reject the build? What is the process that we can reject the build?
See, we are not discussing that build rejection process. Anyhow, this is not our course syllabus. See, in order to understand the Selenium test process, first I am explaining software test process. Actually, this is extra bonus concept. See, here you are asking other concepts also. Those are related to manual testing and other processes. We are not discussing. Our program is not manual testing program. Okay, na? Hello?
Yes, sir.
How to reject build?
Yes.
What is the build reject? What is the build acceptance process? What is the build rejection process? What is the defect management process? We are not discussing those things. Those are manual testing concepts. Say, just I am providing brief introduction about software test life cycle. This life cycle under system testing. System testing level. Why? We are independent testers. We are not unit testers or integration testers or acceptance testers. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Comprehensive testing. Here we execute all possible test cases. After comprehensive testing or during comprehensive testing, if you find any deviations from expected, means mismatches, we report defects. Reporting defects. Reporting defects. Next, after reporting defects, tracking for status. After some time, tracking defects. See, these are combined activities, reporting and tracking defects. Just a minute. Reporting defects. Next, tracking defects. Next, next, after getting modified build, after getting modified build, regression testing. Just a minute, all of you put mute. Regression testing. Cycle 1. Regression testing, cycle 1. What is regression testing, Sanjida Mukul? What is regression testing?
So regression testing is testing that we check anything is after fixing the build, the test we perform, if anything is broken.
so many people or most of the people using this term regression testing. Actually, full form, complete form is re and regression testing. Okay, you can just say regression testing, enough. But full form is re and regression testing. Here two activities. One is retesting, another is regression testing. Retesting and regression testing. Regression, just a minute. Regression testing. But we are just using regression test term. It is enough. But complete form is, full form is re and regression testing. What is retesting? What is retesting? Executing last time failed cases. Checking whether this time passed or not. Regression testing. Sunil, regression testing.
Yes, sir. When the defect is
executing last.
fixed.
Sometimes we execute last time passed cases also, na?
Yes, sir.
Why
Yeah.
executing passed
Like-
cases?
In general, actually, sir, like
Say based on
like we
modifications,
have-
any
we-
side impacts introduced or not. We have to check
yes,
side impacts. Based on that modifications, any side impacts introduced or not. Suppose observe Gurnath, test case 1.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Test case 1, test case 2, just a minute. Suppose this is the execution queue. Test case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this. Suppose we executed test case 1 on build 1. Passed. Test case 2. Passed. Test case 3. Failed. We have to execute test case 3 on modified build. Next build. Why this time failed? Suppose apart from test case 3, we selected test case 2 also. Test case 2 passed. Why we need to execute test case 2 again? Say,
side impact.
say dependency is there in between test case 2 and test case 3. Suppose based on this test case 3 means third functionality modification, any side impacts introduced or not. We have to check that side impacts. See, we have to confirm test case 2 again passed or not, and test case 3 this time passed or not. See, this is about regression testing. Re and regression testing is the full form. Retesting means executing last time failed test cases. Regression means last time passed test cases. Why passed test cases? In order to check side impacts, side effects. Okay, this full form is re and regression testing, but you can just use regression testing. Regression testing time we select last time failed cases and some passed cases also, impacted cases. Okay, na Neeladri?
Yes, sir.
This regression, see, sanity test cases constant. Most of the time sanity test cases are fixed, but regression test cases dynamic. Regression test cases depends on complexity of the application and strength of the development team. Isn't it, Madhumati?
Yes, sir.
Regression testing cycle 1. In this regression testing cycle 1, again we need to conduct sanity testing, na Gurnath?
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes, sir.
on
Yes, sir.
every build,
Yes.
on every software build, sanity testing is mandatory. Last
Yes, sir.
time we accepted. What about this time? Every time we need to test these cases, basic functionality cases. Next,
Okay, sir.
here select regression test cases. Next, execute regression test cases, selected cases. After execution, if you find any deviation from expected, this is cycle. Reporting defects, reporting defects is cycle practice. Next, after reporting, tracking defects. Next, same regression testing, cycle 2. Cycle 2.
I have a question. Sir, just now you mentioned the scenario, right? The test case 1, test case 2, and test case 3. If the test case 1 is failed, right? So
One
there
is
is no
passed.
dependency.
Pardon?
Sorry. If the test case 1 is failed, okay, and then we are doing testing, so it is considered as a retesting or regression testing?
Test case 1 is failed. Then failed test case, executing last time failed test case, that is retesting.
Okay. So can we mention here in the first testing cycle just retesting cycle 1?
No, retesting and regression testing. Retesting means executing last time failed cases. Checking this time, even this time is checking this time also failed or not, or passed or not. Regression means executing last time passed cases. Not all passed cases, only impacted cases.
Okay.
Tell me your confusion. Avoid that confusion.
Yeah, because if we are if the first test case only failed, so just we have to mention that retesting cycle 1. If the test case 2nd and 3rd, if it is failing, then we can say that regression testing cycle 1 kind of thing.
See, you are confusing. Test case 1, 1 passed, 2 passed, 3 failed. We have to execute third test case, that is retesting. Suppose third test case and second test case related, impact is there. That time we have to execute test case 2 also. Then that is cycle 1.
Yeah, but this I'm talking about the different scenario. If test case 1 is failed.
If test case 1 is failed, that is retesting.
Yes, so okay. So okay, if the test case 3rd is failed, okay, so we can test the test case 2 and test case 4 also, because we have to check that it is not impacted to both of the test cases, right?
Suppose if impact is there, we have to check passed cases also. No impact, you no need to check. Depends on functionality dependency. Hello?
Okay. So we can do that, right? Second test case, third test case, and fourth test case, because the dependency is there, and the third test case is failed.
Just a minute.
So we can use the 3.
Just a minute. Test case 1. Just a minute. Test case 2. Test case 3. Test case 4. Like this. Continuation. Now tell me.
Okay. Yeah. The test case number 3 is failed.
3 failed.
Okay. So we can test that the test case 2 we can consider that test case 2, test case 3, and test case 4 also, right?
Yes, 4 also. If dependency is there, you can consider. Suppose no dependency, suppose up to this test case 3, dependency over. Test case 4, that is individual functionality, that time you no need to check. If any dependency is there, you can check.
Okay, can you please give one example for dependency?
See, we are not discussing manual testing, isn't it? What I told, this is only brief idea. You learn manual testing. What about you, Madhumati? Madhumati. Dependency is there, you have to check. Otherwise, observe, Preeti. Suppose login, Gmail login functionality is there. After login, next test case, compose email. Next, delete email. Compose, view email, compose email, delete email. All these are dependent cases, are dependent or not?
Yes.
Dependent. Suppose before login, one forgot password or something is there. Is it dependent?
No.
No dependent. Suppose forgot email is not functioning, but login is functioning. Next, logout is functioning. In between login and logout, compose also functioning, but delete is not functioning. Delete email not functioning, but delete is dependent test case na?
Yes, sir.
But forgot password is not dependent na?
Yes, sir.
See, dependency, functionality dependency. See, based on functionality dependency, you can select test cases for regression testing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome. See, we are not discussing manual testing. Don't go in depth. Just I am providing brief idea. I have a lot of experience in manual testing and ISTQB certification, CST certification also, but our program is Selenium test automation. Okay, just a minute. Tracking defects. Same like this, same. Next, a regression testing cycle 3. This regression cycles depends on complexity of the application and strength of the development team. Next, Madhumati, you sent message now. Madhumati, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, cool. See, Aarti, did you join?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. I just joined 5-7 minutes ago.
Okay,
Thank you.
Cool. Next, at the end, final regression. Observe, Preeti. Final regression. See, regression 2 types. General regression, final regression. See, this is general regression. Cycle 1, 2, 3, all are general regression. This is final regression. See, in this final regression, once again we select test cases from high defect density areas. Say all problems, maximum problems rectified. For example, maximum problems rectified. Once again confirmation, final regression. Say in some areas are high defect density areas. You select test cases from high defect density areas. Once again you confirm. That is final regression. Okay na, Sunil, final regression.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. Say this is about test execution, levels of test execution. Next here output. Sanjida, output of this phase. Output.
Output understanding.
Understanding is not output.
Okay.
Defect report. What
Test
about
cases.
test case is not output. Input. What about defect report?
Yes, defect report.
Yes. See, opened and closed defect reports. Opened and closed defect reports. Closed defect report. Okay. What is closed defect report? After confirmation, testers close defects. Say, testers raise defects, developers fix defects. After fixing defects, testers confirm. Testers confirm defect fixes. After confirmation, testers close defects. Closed defect, okay. What is opened defect? Means not fixed properly or not fixed, postponed. Suppose postponed. See, sometimes developers postpone some defects due to time constraints, etc. See, generally they postpone low severity defects, cosmetic defects, not high severity defects. Here we need to collect opened and closed defect reports. Observe Neeladri, confirmation testing, one term is there. I told testers confirm. Another name of regression testing is confirmation testing. Getting this point?
Regression testing is also known as confirmation testing?
Yes. Why we conduct regression testing? For confirmation, na?
Yes.
See, regression
Right
test.
Right now, I'm working on the regression testing.
See, already I told. Okay, you are working regression testing. Already I told. These terms, terminology, process, terminology and process vary from one company to another and one project to another also sometimes. But this is formal process. I am explaining formal process. See, nowadays, some companies not following formal process. They adopt some changes according to their feasibility. That is not formal, but their feasibility. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Say regression testing is also known as confirmation testing. Next, one more thing, tested software. Tested software. Okay. Next, last phase, small phase. Fourth one, test closure. Test closure. Input or references for test closure. Tell me, Smita, input or references for test closure?
Requirements.
Yes, requirements is input for all phases. Requirements.
Plan document.
Next, test plan. Test plan document describes exit criteria, etc. When to stop testing.
Yes, sir.
Test plan document.
And defects
Opened and closed defect reports. Opened and closed defect reports. Suppose your company collecting any test metrics, software quality metrics, that metrics reports, etc. Next, here test lead prepares one document, test summary for that template. Is simple template, test summary, summarizing all test activities. Test summary report template, simple template. Next, tasks. Sunil, identify the tasks in this test closure phase.
Sir, this is Niladri. Traceability matrix document is not the inputs.
Yes, traceability matrix also. That is also important.
Okay.
Yes, that is also.
Thank you.
Traceability matrix also. And some approval documents, etc. Next, tasks. Continue, Sunil.
Yeah, during the closure, sir, we will make sure to test it in the pre-prod environment finally and certify that it's ready for production deployment.
Pardon? Certifying?
Will certify that it's ready for the production deployment.
Okay. Okay. See, first collect all documents and prepare before that evaluating, just a minute. Evaluating the exit criteria. Evaluating exit criteria. If you get confidence, then you can stop testing. Next, collect all documents and prepare test summary report. Test summary report. See, summarizing all test activities. Test lead. Test lead is the author of the document, but all team members' contribution required for test summary preparation. Say, suppose we we documented 800 cases, executed 789, passed some cases in cycle 1, in cycle 2, like summary, summarizing all test activities. Next important task, send test deliverables. Send test deliverables to customer. Say test deliverables. Smita, can you tell me what are test deliverables? Test deliverables. Madhumati, have any idea what are test deliverables?
No, sir.
Neeladri?
Yes, sir. The test case execution result.
Not only result. See what documents we produce during testing, all are comes under test deliverables. Test cases, test data, test opened and closed defect reports, and test summary report. See, they need to conduct acceptance testing now. See, what documents we produce during testing, all come under test deliverables. Test plan, test scenarios, test cases, test data, opened and closed defect reports, and test summary report. Next, one optional task and best practice, improvement suggestions for future projects. Improvement suggestions for future projects. See, this is the brief introduction about software test process or software test